The big news, though, is Canelo is upset with Golden Boy. I want to talk about the DAZN implications, but first I'll throw to you, Mr. Boxing. What is happening with Canelo? What is happening with Golden Boy? And why is it so serious?
What is happening with Canelo, the biggest star in the sport, the biggest pay-per-view brand, the guy who took the baton from Floyd Mayweather is... he has those May and September dates on lockdown, the Mexican Holloways, the big pay-per-view moments that matter. And suddenly, as of right now, he doesn't have a date, he doesn't have an opponent, and we've cycled through in a very short amount of time 3 or 4 opponents, sort of fueled by the same idea that he doesn't want to give Triple G Gennady Golovkin a third fight. He hates him. He doesn't want to give him the payday. In Canelo's mind, I fought that guy twice. They were both classics. It was a draw and a victory for me. What else do I have to prove?
Right.
This guy's calling me a drug user. This guy's saying things. I don't want anything to do with him. Well, the problem is, Canelo, your network in DAZN, which we can get to in a second, wants a lot to do with that and built their financial future around that. And your promotional team, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, certainly wants that, to the point that they had written language in the DAZN deals that sort of guaranteed that they would get that third fight. And now with Canelo being stripped of that IBF title last week, and for it being stripped in a way in which Golden Boy's matchmaker was negotiating for a potential vacant title bout against Sergey Derevyanchenko, who lost to Daniel Jacobs in a close split decision a year and a half ago. Very credible fighter for a fall date. But the idea was, if you don't make the fight by this certain time, IBF is going to pull that title. Golden Boy signs off on that, apparently not telling Canelo. So we're getting to a sort of potential impasse here where you got to remember a couple of things. Canelo holds the power here. I thought I was going to talk about this show when you talk about it, the decision takeover, when it's Canelo and DAZN, who really holds the power? Well, we're learning that it's Canelo. But Canelo versus Oscar and his team, Canelo holds the power. What have we seen historically in the past when fighters become unhappy at the way they're handling or believe that they can make more money or do better decisions better?
Floyd Mayweather.
Hashtag buy yourself out.
Right.
I wonder if that's coming right now, if you can believe the reporting and the rumor that's coming out and the feeling that Canelo maybe hasn't been completely happy with the decisions being made behind the scenes without his knowledge by his own team. What has happened since then? Top Golden Boy unbeaten prospect Ryan Garcia, who's got the 2 million following on Instagram.
Blasting people.
Blasting. He also shares the same trainers as Canelo, blasting on Twitter, going publicly, like Canelo did this week, sort of calling out his own promoter. Is it just a messy soap opera and we're going to figure it out and Canelo's going to come back against somebody credible this fall? Maybe. But there's been a lot of missteps publicly in the last couple months where you need to start asking yourself, like, what's the future of Canelo Alvarez and Golden Boy? Let's not forget. You remember that big split up between Oscar De La Hoya and Richard Schaefer with Golden Boy? It led to PBC going their own route when originally it was Golden Boy Promotions possibly going to be the house promoter for PBC. Pretty much all the fighters went with Al Heyman and PBC. Canelo stayed true to Oscar. Canelo is Golden Boy Promotions.
Well,
he's the meal ticket.
Name
he's
their
everything.
top 5 fighters without not naming Canelo. You're going to struggle.
So this is going to be very interesting. There's probably huge damage control going on in the offices of Golden Boy. And watch how this plays out and maybe how this might affect Canelo's future at DAZN, which is very interesting.
Okay, last thing on this for me. What is the worst thing that a streaming subscription service, what's the worst thing their customers could ever ask it? It is, wait, why do I pay for this again? If you lose Canelo, I mean, look, I don't know how you feel about DAZN. I already asked this question. Now, I'm not going to get rid of DAZN because when I use DAZN, I actually like it. I get it for Bellator, occasional KSW, Kombat Americas.
You're a big Ak and Barak fan.
Actually, I do love Ak and Barak. They're cool guys, actually. And also, look, you had the Anthony Joshua Ruiz fight on there. You have Canelo fighting on there, you thought, on a reasonable schedule. Dude, you're not just losing Canelo if he decides to bounce. You're losing the crown jewel. You're losing the anchor that makes DAZN kind of what DAZN is. Now, if you're an MMA fan, you're like, well, I don't really care all that much. But if you're DAZN, you're saying to yourself, this is the biggest contract in sports at the time that we signed. Everyone's like, Bryce Harper had the biggest deal. Mike Trout had the biggest deal. No, Canelo Alvarez had the biggest deal.
Well, you could argue Floyd Mayweather's Showtime deal was pretty damn massive, too. But I get what you're saying.
Okay, but at the time he signed it, it was the biggest contract in sports. So I'm just pointing out, this is not just any old boxer. This is the thing that is gluing everyone together. You lose him, you're already on the hook to pay Triple G. Who the hell is he going to fight? I mean, I guess you can make things happen, but you're not going to make that happen. All I'm pointing out, I'm not saying a bunch of dominoes get pulled if he decides to somehow force a breach of contract and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
What I'm pointing out is you're beginning to ask yourself more and more as a DAZN customer, wait, well, if I don't get Canelo, why am I paying for this?
And to be clear, I don't have the legal background to tell you that there's a breach of contract here or whatever, but it's if you have a star that's unhappy and you made it your financial backbone in DAZN,
yep.
They signed Golden Boy and Oscar guaranteed a third Canelo Triple G fight. They signed Triple G for $100 million, and in the language in the contract reportedly is a guarantee for a Canelo Triple G fight. Canelo's the guy that doesn't want it. What are you going to do? It's going to be very interesting soap opera.